Welcome to The Explainer. We're here to take complex topics and, well, break them down into clear, focused narratives for you.
So get this. Our source for today's explainer argues that the single biggest reason most traders fail isn't their strategy or even a lack of cash. It's a deep, profound lack of psychological control. The real scaling, the kind that actually leads to success, has to happen between your ears first.
We're going to walk you through this psychological gauntlet that every successful trader has to run. We'll look at the phases of failure, that big aha moment of enlightenment, and the tools a real pro uses to read the market's story. Let's start where most traders do, right at the beginning of the end. According to our source, the path a trader follows is, well, it's predictable, it's painful, and for the very few who make it through, it's completely transformative. It's really less about mastering charts and way more about mastering yourself. It almost always seems to start with a winning streak, right? Those first few trades just click and you feel like you can't lose. But our source says this early success, it's a trap. It leads you straight into the crash where emotions take the wheel and losses just start piling up. And that whole downward spiral ends at what they call rock bottom, a state of being clinically dead. Your account is toast and you just want to quit for good. And here's the thing, this whole journey, it is almost entirely in your head. In fact, our source makes a really bold claim. Success in trading is 90% mindset and only 10% strategy. Just think about that for a second. The charts, the indicators, all that stuff is the easy part. It's the psychology that just breaks almost everybody. But here's where it gets interesting. That turning point, hitting rock bottom, it isn't just some risk you take. Our source argues it's a necessary rite of passage. It's the only place where your ego is shattered enough that real, lasting change can finally start to happen. This is that big moment of enlightenment. It's the realization that the market isn't your enemy. Your own greed, your impatience, your fear, those are the enemies. You finally recognize that the only thing you can actually control in this entire game is yourself. And that internal shift, it creates two completely different kinds of traders. On one side, you've got the gambler. They're just reacting, chasing fast money, and blaming the market for their losses. And on the other side, you've got the professional. They plan every single trade, they follow a process, they manage their risk, and they take total ownership for every decision. This brings us to a really core concept our source calls psychological scaling. And the idea is actually pretty simple. You have to prove you can master your emotions and follow your process with a small account first. Only when your brain is actually ready for success can your wallet follow.
Once you have that mental breakthrough, the way you look at a chart completely changes. It's not just random noise anymore. Instead, you start to actually see the market story, and you learn how to read it with a whole new set of tools. So, the first tool is learning to see liquidity. Instead of random price movements, you start seeing a map of where all the money is sitting, where the buy and sell orders are all clustered together. Our source says to think of these clusters like pools of water in a desert. They're magnets for the price. And believe me, the big institutions are very thirsty. And the way these huge institutions hunt for that liquidity, it's kind of like a boxer setting up a knockout punch. First, they throw these light, loose punches, small, indecisive market moves. This is to get smaller traders to lower their guard and put their orders in. And once enough of that liquidity has been built up, bam, the institution delivers the knockout blow.
And you know what? Those knockout blows, they leave clues behind. Our source calls them order blocks. They're like the fingerprints of the big players. The exact spot on the chart where a major institutional move kicked off. A professional trader learns to spot these fingerprints to get a sense of where the market might be pushed next. All right, so you've got the mindset, you've got the tools. What's left? What now? Well, now you enter the final phase. And this isn't about just making money anymore. It's about playing an endless game, one of constant optimization. Our source really stresses this. You never arrive as a trader. You don't just hit some finish line. Instead, you enter this state of constant improvement. You become laser-focused on the long-term process, knowing that any single day's profit or loss, well, it's pretty much meaningless in the grand scheme of things. This final phase is less about action and more about a state of being. It's this incredible mix of gratitude and serenity. It's a place where your confidence doesn't come from predicting the market, but from knowing you can manage yourself no matter what the market throws at you. You finally stop fighting the waves and you just learn how to surf.
And that is the ultimate shift in your perspective. You finally realize the market is not something to be beaten. It's something to be understood. The goal isn't to fight it anymore, but to just navigate its currents with discipline and a real sense of peace.
And so, our source leaves us with this final, really provocative thought. What if that chart on your screen isn't just data? What if it's a mirror, reflecting your own internal state, your patience, your fear, your greed, your discipline? The real question is, what does your chart show about you?